everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Kayla and this is At Home with Kayla Price. And in this video, I wanted to do a little tribute to Queen Elizabeth II and share with you some of the royal stuff that I've collected through the years. I'm not gonna really say it's any kind of amazing collection or anything. It's just random pieces that I've seen, usually on eBay, that I have nabbed and not spent a lot of money on. Some items are new because of course the Queen celebrated her platinum jubilee not that long ago. So of course I wanted to get some items then, but some items are old. So I'll be sharing those with you. But first I wanted to mention 5 things that I think we can learn from Queen Elizabeth II. And I'm not a political statement. I'm not saying I'm a royalist or not. Doesn't really matter. I'm an American, so my opinion doesn't count. But what I am saying is that she spent a long time serving her country to the best of her ability. She took her duties very seriously. And I do think that from her long life, we can learn some things. So here are the 5 things that I am taking away from her 94 years on this earth. One, and it may not be as much Queen Elizabeth, it may be a whole royal sort of thing, but have you ever noticed how they don't redecorate their palaces and castles as often as I know here in America we zhuzh up a bedroom or get new carpet or whatever it may be. And often when they do end up having to replace their curtains after 100 or so years of hanging there, they'll go back with the exact same thing. So I'm not really sure, it does make me think about something that a leadership guy back when I was in college said to us in a seminar. And that was that during the course of our lifetime, we would all be spending the amount of money that it would cost to purchase a Rolls Royce. So we have a choice. We can make one purchase for a Rolls Royce and drive that car the rest of our life, or we could go out and buy the Mustang and then in 3 or 4 years trade it in for the, Taurus, and then trade that in 5 or 6 years for the truck, whatever it may be. But if we added up all the cars that we were going to purchase in our life, we could have actually bought a Rolls Royce. So I guess if you're only getting new curtains every 100 or 150 years, the fact that they're silk, hand woven, custom made with gold bullion tassels hanging from them might actually end up equating. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. So I think there is something maybe that we could learn about money management for the Queen. Of course, she has a lot more zeros, or had a lot more zeros behind her accounts than we do, but she also had larger expenses than we do. So surely there is a takeaway there for us. Number 2, I just think there was something about her inquisitiveness of life and people that help make her 94 years on this earth enjoyable for her and others. So it seemed like when she would meet people in a receiving line, she always wanted to hear kind of about the world through their eyes. And, where are you from? Did it take you long to get here? What do you do for a living? Or whatever it may be. They weren't just, hi, nice to meet you, let's move on down the road. It was like she was actually trying to see a glimpse of a life that she didn't have privy to. She lived in a gilded cage. I'm not sure any of us would want to give up all of our freedoms to have the material things that she benefited from or the staff that she benefited from, just because it would almost be living in a fishbowl. Neither here nor there, but I do think that inquisitiveness that she had really did endear her to people. It's lightning in Houston, just thought you needed to know. Number 3, I think that right or wrong, there was something that we can all learn from her marriage to Prince Philip. They had a very long, loving, and mutually respectful marriage, which isn't easy, because usually if you've ever watched a celebrity and another celebrity, but maybe not of the same magnitude, it's always tough on a marriage. And of course, to be married to the Queen of England had to have been a very tough role for Prince Philip to be in, but yet he managed to hang in there and help her with her duties, and she still showed him respect and love that he deserved as her husband. Now, if we believe some of the things like the Crown shows or that you can read, of course I wasn't there so I don't know, but maybe he had dalliances, maybe he didn't, but you know, there again, if that is the case, somehow she was able to find a way to move on, and for him to move on, and to make their marriage work. So that would be number 3. They made a loving relationship last for many, many years. And as we all know, relationships change over time. So they were able to make sure that they changed together and stayed together. Number 4, I would say that would be learning from our mistakes. And, you know, I think back to the death of Princess Di and how the Queen made some missteps for her people, and she tried her best to right those wrongs. And I'm not, you know, none of us are perfect. I'm not saying that she always was perfect and good with her decisions. Obviously she has advisors, but what I am saying is she tried to fix it when she blew it. And you know, that's all any of us can do as humans, is it's just natural. We're going to make errors and missteps, and to not just sweep it under the rug or pretend it's someone else's fault, but to rather own it and do our best to overcome it is an admirable quality. And the last item I would say on things we can learn from the Queen would be her ability to pay homage to tradition of the royal family, to the heritage of the British people, but to kind of stay one foot in modern society as well. You know, even with her children, lots have gone on with them through their lives, and she has tried to hang in there and be as modern as one can be while still trying to protect her family. So I do think that there's a lot to be said for someone in their 80s or 90s, not just giving up on the world or seeing it through the dimension of how things were when they were young, but also trying to stay up to date on modern society and relevant in modern society without being, you know, trying to be or emulate a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old. So I don't know, I think there's something cool about that. It seemed like she aged with grace. And I think that any of us that have the honor task of living that long, however you would describe it, I'm sure that if we can have that, be blessed with that grace as well, would be a very good thing. So that is my small tribute to Queen Elizabeth II, just with some things that I picked up from watching her through my lifetime. Now I want to share with you some of the items I've collected through the years that are royal or kind of based on the royal family. And as I showed you with my seashell collection, my favorite thing to do is to put these items around in my home so I get to enjoy them and see them. So you probably saw at the very beginning of the video the little dancing queen, little kinetic sculpture that wiggles when it is in sunlight, a little solar thing. So that is just a little funny, I wouldn't call it a big royal collectible, but it's like $14.99 on Amazon. Any of these items you can get on Amazon, I will link below for you. It's something I just bought a few months ago. It had been in my basket forever, but after the Queen passed, I thought I better go ahead and snap it up. But that will live under a lamp in my on my office desk. So it's just a fun something to make me smile. Then other things that I want to show you around my house would be this painting that I picked up on eBay. It is of a royal coronation. I don't remember what the date is on it. It probably shows it in the picture, but it was probably Queen Elizabeth's parents. I don't know if it's worth anything. It may just be worth $2, but I like it, I enjoy it, and I like having it hanging where it is in a hallway so that I can see it when I pass by. Also around the house, as you see, are a stack of books about Diana and her life that are back in my craft room. I have a couple of plaques that I picked up on Portobello Road there as well. But then I have this interesting plate from the coronation of King Edward VIII. And as you remember, that was George VI's brother. He was the one that became, he was the eldest brother. He became king on the passing of his parents, but he fell in love with Wallis Simpson and abdicated the throne. So there was no coronation, but yet there was a plate or lots of souvenirs probably already produced. And this is one that I found on eBay, so I just think it's pretty cool to display. Also, coffee table books, magazines, I will switch those out from time to time. Something for me to look at while I'm sitting around or for guests to look at. And then in this little secretary, some of the displayed items I have are a little plate from the coronation of the Queen, a little halcyon box from Blenheim Palace, and then also a mug from the Platinum Jubilee that I just bought as well. So little things like that you can pick up around and aren't that expensive, especially special editions of People magazine. They're kind of collector's items, but they aren't expensive. So those items would make great gifts for people you know who enjoy being a royal watcher also. There's also some great books out there on Kate Middleton, Princess Diana, and Queen Elizabeth and other royals in the family. So it's just fun to see what you can find and pick things up. So let me show you some of the things that I've picked up through the years, and I'll try to go through these really quickly. So from the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II, I have a little viewfinder card, and I think that's so cool because I still have my original viewfinder from when I was a little kid. So these are neat. They are 7 scenes, 3-dimensional full color photos for use in Viewmaster, stereoscopes, and projectors. So that's a cool thing I picked up, I believe, on eBay. This is a little coronation Bible from the coronation of George VI, May 1937. So that would have been Queen Elizabeth II's father, and it's a New Testament, just a tiny little Bible, souvenir Bible, which again came from eBay. Now to go along, and it's not really royal, but it is, I love the Queen Mary. So I have this old game where, glass front, where you put the little beads in the little holes. So it's 3 buoys, and you put the little silver beads there. And there is a little ship up here that's supposed to be the Queen Mary. One of the stacks from the Queen Mary is now floating down at the bottom, but it's still cute nonetheless and in really good shape. And as you know, the Queen Mary was named for Queen, well, it would be for George and Edward. So George VI and Edward VIII's mom, who was the Queen Mary. So that would be Queen Elizabeth II's grandmother. I'm pretty darn sure. And it is docked in Long Beach, and I've been there a couple of times, but it has been condemned, and no longer can people go in and tour it. But it's a cool ship, and even though I got to go there several times and tour it, or a couple of times and tour it, we were scheduled to spend the night there when COVID hit and we had to cancel our plans. So that will always be a bummer if it's not brought back where I can actually go see it. But I also have some little charms just over the Queen Mary. This is a little gold one that is a replica, and then on the back is a little silver one, and it also says Long Beach. I feel like I picked these up on eBay as well. I don't think I got them at a store there, but maybe. So that is that. Some of the other things I have: a parade in honor of the Queen's birthday in 1955 in Berlin, just a little program of that, and talks about, oh, it even has the a ticket to go see it. Darn, I missed it. And it shows you where to park and all sorts of good things. Notes for spectators were in there. Royal wedding gifts. This is a souvenir from Princess Diana and Prince Charles's wedding, and there was a display of some of the, like 950 of the gifts that they received for their wedding, and money raised through the program and the exhibition were to go to charities that benefited the disabled, according to this program. So it's pretty interesting to look through here and see some of the different items that were donated, like polo sketches and a botanical print and a white parasol hand painted by the donor. That was given by a gentleman from Japan. So there were items in here, of course, from all over England, as well as the US and the whole globe. So very interesting. This is a program from a dinner in honor of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip that was held in Chicago by the Honorable Richard Daley, who was mayor, and that was held in 1959 at the Conrad Hotel, and has beautiful pictures. It tells the program, but it tells who was seated on the dais, but it also gives the menu and what champagne and wine was served with the menu. So started with fresh strawberries. There were celery, olives, and almonds. A consommé was served, filet mignon with potatoes and grilled tomatoes, and then a salad, and an American tribute was, I believe, the dessert, served with coffee and champagne. So that would have been a fun evening to have attended way back when. Different tickets and invitations. This is for an afternoon party at Buckingham Palace in 1937, which would have meant the King and Queen were Queen Elizabeth's parents. And same thing, coronation arrangements in 1953. This would have been for Queen Elizabeth's coronation. Coronation souvenir, and there's a little note in here that it was a gift to a couple who was staying at Grosvenor House, a hotel in London, and that all the guests received the program just as a memento. So the coronation was held June 2nd, 1953, and it has different information about her, this lovely picture of Queen Elizabeth and Philip. Also the parade route, different parts of the ceremony and the procession. So that is a good one to have. Same thing, a coronation of Their Majesty King George VI and Queen Elizabeth official souvenir program, and it was very similar with the descent of the crown, information about the parade route, which way it would be going, and information about the Their Majesties that were being course, George the Sixth being coronated, but I think that kind of the whole family gets, you know, included as well. And I have some other different invitations. This would be for His Majesty's birthday party held in 1937. So soon after George was coronated, like a month, less than a month later, they had a birthday party for him, awfully late at 8:30. And this is an afternoon garden party at Buckingham Palace held the next month in July 1937. And then some various photos. This one of Queen Mum, and this one, Queen Elizabeth, reviewing the troops in Berlin in 1965, yeah, in Germany. And then a couple of Christmas cards, and I know I have more, but I'm not sure where I've put them. This is a Christmas card of Charles and Diana with the two princes, and it was sent to Nanny Rattle and signed by both of them. And it's just so funny because they're not all looking at the camera. It's like any family with young kids, everybody's looking their own way and doing their own thing. And then this one would have been a few years later with Charles and Diana and the kids a little older, and again signed by both Charles and Diana. And on the front of these it has their seals. So I don't know, just cool memorabilia. I know I have one of the Queen, but I don't know where I put it. Or a Christmas card from the Queen. But anyway, I have more books and magazines, and they're all just things I do for fun. All these things can be picked up rather affordably on eBay, Etsy, and other internet sites. So again, they make great presents for someone who is an Anglophile like myself. But that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for being here. And if you would, please become a subscriber. And if you like this kind of video, if you would also give it a thumbs up so that I'll know to make more like this. But in the meantime, I will see you back next week, and I hope you have a wonderful week in between. So long.